Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Awesome. Sounds like there was a lot of breakfast being eaten. I thought that. Everybody's doing great. I'm super excited to be at Amplify in New York City. We have a great agenda for you today. We are going to take you through this keynote where we're going to tell you about what we see going on in the market. We're also going to give you demos so that you can see, so we can see what's going on. By the way, neither of these monitors are on. And then we're also going to have a customer come up. Not just any customer, our very first customer, Alaska Airlines. And we've had, thank you, Lori. We've had Alaska as a customer for 10 years, which is absolutely incredible, and she can walk you through her story. And then we're going to take you through our framework on how you get return on customer data. That is, and we call it ROCKed, return on customer data, because it's not just important that we have all the solutions that work, we have a business case that needs to be provided to the rest of the business. So with that, I want to start by saying, with gratitude that's part of our culture, thank you. Thank you to incredible customers. Thank you for always being there with us and working on making our systems better. Thank you for all the partnership that we've had over the years. I also want to thank some of our future customers that are in the room. We're looking forward to partnering with you. And with our partners that you can see up on the screen right now, we have an incredible group of partners. And you're also going to be seeing some of those partners present later today, including Microsoft, AWS, and Databricks. We want to thank you because you help make our customers more successful. So let's talk about the market a little bit. We've been chasing a better customer experience for years. And in that customer experience, we've tried to get to levels of personalization. We've tried to get to different ways of approaching customers and thinking about the customers differently. But we've also had some incredible challenges while we've been doing this. And I want to frame what some of those challenges look like. We've gone through waves of changes. So as these waves have come through, we've got more and more data. So when the internet comes in, we get online, we get email, then we go to mobile. Mobile gives us SMS, it gives us apps, and we continue to get more and more complex data. Then we start going into social. Social starts giving us contextual data. It starts giving us passive addictions. It starts giving us maybe some active addictions that are going on. But we have more data coming through. And how do we process all this data? It's coming in unstructured ways. And now we have AI. There's not a meeting that goes on that we don't talk about AI. What I like today is we're going to actually show you AI in action to get you the outcomes. With AI, I actually think you take all the data that's ever been produced, and agentic and synthetic data is getting produced to the point over the next couple of years, it will actually eclipse the entire data asset landscape that you have. And that only creates greater complexity. So while this complexity is going on, and you can see the growth of data that's going on, we've also introduced over 15,000 applications into MarTech. This is so that we can continue taking advantage of data, but it also creates massive complexity for us. And inside of this complexity, how are we going to be able to metabolize that? What we've basically done is said, hey, you're looking for the same needle in a haystack, just the haystack has gotten bigger and more complex as time has gone on. Okay? And what has this produced? This is produced where we're only using 25% of the total customer data that's available, not always targeted at the exact same customer, just the entire data that we have available to us. That's just the customer data, let alone the total data that you have that's going to be in single digits. Personalization is relevant or it's been mistimed, and that's at 79%. That means most of what we're sending out, even though we go through curating audiences, even though we go through the right segmentation, putting the right attributes on it, we're still missing the mark the overwhelming majority of time. And last, will customers leave over the brand experience? In a survey, 63% said they would leave just on the experience alone. So you could have the right product, you could have the right supply chain, but if you don't also have the right experience, you don't have the equation built out. And people will take a look at their alternatives associated with that. So while this is all going on in the market and externally, what are we experiencing internally? What we're experiencing is marketing has requirements on it. We now want to go get data because we hear that data is readily available to us. We go over to our technology team. Our technology team certainly wants to deliver to us. They provide us back information so that we can go create these audiences. We question the data a little bit because that's part of our job. And then by the time all of this is going on and we get the campaigns that are out there, the customer's already gone. We're basically falling into the Drucker philosophy that says internal requirements and external forces will require us to make changes faster than those two things combined. And do we have the systems that are going to allow us to metabolize all the data and information and get to the customer while the customer is constantly moving forward and we're competing with other experiences? So this is the challenge that's in front of us, and as part of the challenge that's in front of us, this is what customers start to experience. I've experienced at least one, most, maybe even all the things that are up here. And I understand the systems, we all do, these systems that are behind it that are producing these outcomes. And unfortunately, it's a very messy experience. And inside of this, what happens when we're not meeting the expectations? There's a gap between the experience and the expectations. And every expectation, if you want to know what a consumer expectation is, I would encourage you to go out to the App Store and download the top 10 apps that are out there. How many people came here this morning on Uber? Okay, a handful. I guess the rest of you walked. It's okay. But now your expectation is that you have certain needs, that you have certain outcomes. And inside of this top 10 list, what you're going to see is that consumers are now in control of a certain portion of it, and they're being guided through these different processes. How many people here use DoorDash? Oh, more people, thank goodness, because I thought that was just me 4 nights a week. So in DoorDash, you're going to start to see where supply chains are being married up in the experiences there, and you're getting visibility into those types of experiences. Now, when you take this top 10 list and you put out those kind of concepts, they're expecting every experience to be like that, because consumer behavior is being driven off of the consumer apps that are available to them. And how are you going to match up for those kind of situations? So what if we were able to act in the moment? We weren't guessing, we were moving at customer speed, the campaigns were more on target, and we were getting some immediate answers to what are usually unknown processes. The most frustrating thing is when you're involved in a process and you don't know all the steps, and then you're trying to figure it out, so it feels like an Easter egg hunt while you're trying to get something done quickly. Here's what I would tell you. AI has changed the opportunity for us, and we're going to show you how that's changed the opportunity for us today. The rules have changed. Not only have the rules have changed, but we're going to reimagine how you can be working with your customers in many different ways by using the same system. So AI is the unlock, and here's what the premise is on what we're going to. You're not only going to be doing what you've continued doing, being inside out, but you're also going to have the opportunity to be outside in. Inside out is what we typically do. It's a rules-based system. You're going to go through, you're going to create a journey. It's based off of this audience that you've given some attributes to. You don't like the size of the audience, you change some of the attributes. That doesn't make it better for the customer experience, but you do use a rules-based system. If this, then that. It feels like a Visio diagram. And the problem with that, and the reason why we've continued to get less than 3% productivity, even though we have way more data and we have all of these apps, is because we've always applied the journey to a customer and presume that we know them. That's inside out. Outside in, start saying we're going to be part of their journey, and we're going to make their day easier, and we're going to be in the moment with them, and we're going to allow them to guide it. So the same way you think about things like Uber and DoorDash, where people are declarative about what they want as an outcome, and they're filling in the components, that's what we want to enable all our brands to do, okay? So there's going to be 4 areas that we need to go to, and the first thing starts with context. This is Susan in the morning, and because we know so much information about Susan, we know that she goes into the office 4 days a week. She typically leaves her house at 7:41, because we have creepy details like that based on all the data that's out there, and we've organized it in a way that allows us to see it. So around 7:35 a.m., we say, Susan, would you like that ube coffee on the way to work? And this is where it'll stop and it'll be ready. You are not going into an app. You are not trying to understand how many stars you have. You're not trying to go through 7 clicks on an order. We're not interrupting your day and then throwing you a $1 off if you add food on, right? That's the old experience. That's rules. We're presuming that that's the incentive that will change. She knows she wants the ube coffee. Now it's just a matter, can we deliver it to her to make her day better as time goes on? Knowing all these things, we also move it to one-click ordering. One click, and it's almost like you're in an SMS engagement to say, yes, order gets posted. We're going straight from we're in your day to delivering an outcome. And inside of that, you decide from there, now she is on the journey, we're with it, are there any other things that Susan would want as part of her day? If you have context inside of your system, which is your AI system, then you can deliver experiences like this, okay? The second component is perishable. Moments are perishable. In this example, she's now reached out to the brand, Brooks. People use Brooks? Phenomenal, yeah, there we go. Phenomenal Amperity customer. And while she was at the New York Marathon, she saw the glycerin 23s. Because of what we know and we can engage with her, we can now say, do you want to click to reserve your size? You can go pick it up at the store, cross the bridge, it's the closest one to you. We can also give options to ship. And inside of this, we know that purple's her favorite color. Or she's saying that purple is her favorite color. Two things are going on right there. One, we're going to check the inventory associated with that. So we have the purple version of the glycerin 23s. But forever now, inside of her profile, we're going to start storing that purple is her favorite color. We're going to continue to build up Susan's profile so we know more and more about her over time. And you'll see why that becomes so important later on. Has to be actionable. We know, based on all the different things that we know and the information that we're capturing from Alaska Airlines, phenomenal airlines, we're starting to look at how do we start putting her in moments. So this isn't what you see in typical systems where you say, we have this massive inventory, we're gonna give you a discount to this audience, and the click-through rate's extremely small, conversion rate becomes really small, and that's where you get that less than 3% productivity. We're gonna deliver what it looks like to be in Juneau, Alaska. Other people who've been on this trip before, and she's one click away from going to Juneau, Alaska. Now, because we have a program on the Alaska side quest, there's other things that she could be doing for Alaska. Typically, if you put program in front, you want to educate everybody on your program because you think if you lock them on that train track that they will then forever use the program. If they have an experience, the conversion rate becomes way higher. Now they feel like they're in the program, they've done something with the program. So it's not the program being impressed upon the consumer, they are in the program and you're showing how much better everything's going to be, and it's going to give you curated options. And the last on the 4 components is learning. The system is always learning. For as much data as you want to import, we want to build up the profile as much as possible. Because we've been because we imported all the information, we know that Susan gets a new ensemble every spring. And so, Nordstrom's, another great customer of ours, is going to put this out in front of her and say, would you like to shop this spring collection? We know that her favorite color is purple. Everybody you know what I'm talking about. Lilac is purple. Now she can look at the color palette and shop, but we're going to put this out to begin with. That's going to be on there. And oh, by the way, would you also like to accessorize it so you can see it in component? Because we'd like you to introduce you to the Darcy bag. Bag is very different than a purse. If you ever want that explanation for an hour, my wife's happy to give you the play school version. I learned that the hard way. She can now add a bag. And so the bag gets put onto the ensemble. So if we're listening and responding over time and engage, we can go from this to engagement, we can go from this to inventory, we can go from this to in-store experiences as we go through. So the system has to constantly be learning so we can deliver these types of experiences. When we do this, every customer will start to feel like all the interactions are just for me and in the moment. You are not casting a wide net hoping that you catch the fish kind of thing. You are very targeted in what you are doing. You are now actively engaged in conversations. I think customers will feel completely different about the experience. And I think the biggest payoff that you can get inside of this is the one where they're proud to recommend you. It's not just that you're getting them, it's not that they're just getting add-on sales. They start telling all of their friends, hey, what was this like? We've all seen that lean-in factor or that aha moment when you do it. I call it the ChatGPT moment. You put something in there, and when it gave you that answer, you're like, holy crap, I got to tell somebody about this. This is amazing. I look way smarter. This is the kind of experience that we want to start creating for our customers. And this is where the Amperity system comes in. It's built around these. So when we had this view of this is what's going on in the market, we had our big ears on. We have an amazing customer advisory board who continue to give us feedback and say, these are the things that we need. And then on top of that, we had a bunch of our partners come in and say, this is what the capabilities could have, and you should be designing a system that looks like this. And we're going to, rather than just showing it, rather than me just telling you, we're going to show that today. So how does this work? We said we need to design the system where you go from guessing to knowing. There's all this disparate information all over the place. It has different components that are all about a profile for Paul Weiss. We're going to take all that information, aggregate it, and start making it, it's about Paul, it's not about all these different silos of information. The second thing is we're going to go from knowing to acting. We know all this information, why aren't we acting on it? There's almost a brand promise that's being left behind. If I've given you all this information and then you're not acting on that information, I feel like you don't really know me. And so as you try and get closer to me and you're not doing these things, it's a miss in the brand promise. Now Paul, who we know is a diamond customer and likes to fly fish, we know that he's going to be looking at that kind of gear because the season's opening up. He's been looking at this online. He's now going into the store. If you would like, we will also start arming store associates with information so that when he comes in, we can see the background. We've all had this, all the background that he's gone through. We also know that in this kind of situation, not all brands fit the same in size. So he can start saying, look, the last time you bought that particular jacket, you got it in a large. Are you sure do you want to try it in large again this time? One, you get lower RMAs and returns and other things. But two, now I start to feel like you know me. Now you're making recommendations, and it's not me trying to get close to you. It's me knowing something about you and the way that you engage with the customers in a different way. So we go from knowing to acting. And then we go from continuous campaigns, which we should continue doing the right campaigns that you want to curate, but now we're in continuous engagement. So when we started, you saw all those different types of data. We're now going to organize all that data in the background and ingest it so that we can create a richer profile. We're now in zero-party data. Zero-party data is anything from chat to anything prompt where people are searching. If they're going through different engines, we want to share profile information while still making it secure. But now we have these 4 elements. We have it in context, we have it in real time, it's actionable, and the system keeps learning. It also changes the way that we work inside. Before we were going on this random walk through different departments to get the information. Now we're streamlining the information because we're making it about don't give me more extracts, don't give me more lists. It's now going to be, I just need the profiles that I want to activate against. Here's the attributes, prompt in what attributes you're looking for, what's the information that's coming back, and I have a live profile. So if we get all this right, and we're doing this in a way that allows for engagement with the customer, you're going to see the impact that goes on. It's 2 things that are going on right now. One, we have business impacts, and we need to show what those things are like you can see above. At the same time, you're also elevating trust. And there's nothing more than trust. When somebody trusts a brand, we all have brands that we think of, and we know that brand, we trust that brand, we feel like that brand knows us, it's rock solid, then you're going to elevate the trust. And now you're moving it so that your moat isn't just your product or your pricing. Your moat now becomes the experience. Every other experience starts getting compared to your experience. So with that, I want to bring up to the stage people who are going to show the live system associated with that. Please join me in welcoming Grigori, Kate, and Christian.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, customers. Thank you, partners. Thank you, analysts. Thank you, teams. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all the feedback. In product organization, we absolutely value your feedback. It's a gift. And the pace of the technological innovation has been relentless at Amperity. At Amperity. So we shipped a lot. We shipped a lot. You can see that, again, too many things to enumerate. But the main theme here is how can we make it more usable, more friendly, radical simplification, self-service. That's the name of the game. Along with all these amazing capabilities that the engineering teams have delivered, I want to make sure that we also meet you where you are. So we know you're scaling your businesses globally. So we have extended our footprint in the data centers around the world, in Europe, in Canada, and more recently in Australia and New Zealand. And I know that we have some people who actually traveled for this event all the way from Australia. So there you go. Thank you. Thank you. Long trip. We value your business. We value your time. Thank you so much. So today, we're actually going to show you some of the new exciting things that we're releasing. And we're going to show you some of those demos. Shall we?
We shall. All right. So first and foremost, again, just wanted to say what Grigori shared is really just the beginning. And with the help of Grigori and with our partner over here, Christian, we're really excited to show you how we're helping all of you, from marketers to analysts, to really move from insight to action faster, and more confidently in a way that allows you to create those experiences that are relevant, contextual, and personal for your customers in the moments that matter most. All right, so with that, let's get started. All right, so Tony mentioned Susan earlier. She's the main character in this story. Susan's a traveler. We saw that previously. And she's online and she's scrolling and she sees an ad for an adventure weekend or adventure trip in Kauai. All right, now, incredible hikes, amazing views, expansive white waters. I mean, I don't see why she wouldn't want to go.
What to love. Mm-hmm.
And she's also traveled with Amperity or with Amp Adventures several times before. But it's been a few years, and so now it's kind of triggered the itch, so she clicks in. And what we're seeing here is, as we're following Susan, I want you to notice a couple of things. Watch her profile, right? Right now, we don't know Susan yet, but we're already learning about her. We're learning about how she came in. We're learning about, that she's interested in destination backpacking. As she explores more, her profile keeps updating, right? We're gonna find out that, again, it's not just destination backpacking. She likes the adventure component. Again, Kauai, very interested in that. She keeps digging into more experiences around that, and that she's labeled an economy traveler. All right, so at this point, most brands really don't know much about the customers that they're interacting with, right? So the experience feels generic, it feels rote. But with Amperity, the system is already learning everything about Susan, learning what she's interested in, what she's exploring, and what her intent is in that moment. All right, so when Susan finally identifies herself, the experience doesn't restart. It just picks up, it's more personal, and it's relevant to her in that moment. All right, so she's eager to book, and she clicks in, but I wanna pause here for a second. This part of the experience is what quietly separates brands that feel transactional to brands that feel like they truly know you, right? So the moment Susan logged in, we saw that her entire profile expands, right? We're seeing her entire history, her preferences, her behaviors, her patterns. That while she may browse economy, she consistently books luxury experiences, premium stays, first-class flights. She adds on to her trips with extra packages. That's the context that matters, right? Instead of showing her a generic offer, Amp Adventures presents her with an upgraded luxury adventure package just for her in that moment, right? This is the kind of experience that Susan has chosen time and time again. And this isn't the old version of personalization. It's not about segments and cohorts. It's personalization that's powered by both the historical context that Susan has with your brand or with Amp Adventures, and it's adapting to what she's doing now in the moment with her current intent. So for Susan, this really means an experience that is built just for her right now. But for Amp Adventures, it's higher conversion and it's higher value bookings.
So this is precisely the moment where other platforms fail. This moment where we're able to stitch the identity across any channel, any device in real time. This is actually one of the hardest problems in our space. You know this. So and the reason it's hard is because it's not just some data. It's behaviors, it's signals, it's interactions, it's all kinds of shapes and forms. And this is what Amperity solves. We're bringing together the historical data. We're bringing together real-time streams into one, always up-to-date view of the customer, something that you value so much. And while others may do it in batches, they're effectively acting on something that happened yesterday. We're able to do this in milliseconds.
That's right. All right, so we're back with Susan. She adds the trip to her cart, but before she books, she wants to gut check the dates with her husband, Jack, who she's kind enough to bring with her on this trip. But as life happens, she gets distracted. We've all been there. We mean to book, but we don't, we pause. So a little bit later, she gets a text message. And of course, Amp Adventures knows that this is her preferred channel, so that's how they're choosing to engage with her. Still thinking about Kauai? Of course she is. I'm sure we all are at this point. She comes right back to where she left off. Nothing's lost. She doesn't have to start over. That's the important part, right? And now, with all of this context, her virtual concierge, Fritz, jumps into action. Hi, Susan. I see you're looking at a package in Kauai. It's an adventure package. Okay, so the point is, Fitz knows her. She knows who she is, what she's looking at, what she's been exploring, knows where she's left off. So Susan doesn't have to repeat herself. She doesn't have to re-explain anything. So she just keeps planning her trip. All right, so as she's engaging with Fitz, she's like, okay, you know what? I really want to make sure that I get into one of the best restaurants in the resort. So she asks Fitz to take care of it for her. But recognizing that Susan is a gold tier customer, Fitz proactively books her and offers her a priority ocean view seat. Again, context around Susan. Knows that that's the experience that she's going to want, that that's what she expects. So again, now that she's ready to go, she books, profile updates in real time, trip confirmed, fantastic. Susan is now on her way to a long-awaited trip, and for Amp's adventure, she's booked extra experiences. That's a higher value booking, and they've established a stronger customer relationship with her. Because again, they're recognizing her, who she is right now in this moment, and what motivates her and drives her. All right, let's fast forward. All right, so after they're on their trip. We're now in Kauai. Susan and Jack are just getting off 3 days of the backpacking part of their adventure. They come into the resort. Susan gets an alert. If she's anything like many of us, a welcomed reminder that she has dinner reservations that night. But also you'll notice that she was given a curated offer for a last-minute, there was a last-minute opening in the resort spa. So she was offered a 5-star experience. That experience really wasn't random. It was selected just for her based on who she is, what she loves, the experiences that she expects based on everything that she's done in past vacations with Amp Adventures.
And even now, with the hike, they must be tired.
Exactly. Who doesn't want a nice massage after a hike?
Exactly.
All right, but really, what's so powerful about this? This is the same profile that powered the offer, the booking, the digital concierge, is now the same profile that is powering her in-resort experience, selecting the right experience for her. All right, so I'm going to repeat this again. For Susan, this is really around creating those moments that matter. Seamless, frictionless, feeling seen, heard, and valued. For Amp Adventures, this is how they create those moments that create deeper loyalty, more repeat trips, and higher customer lifetime value.
That's right. And this wasn't just a campaign. What you just seen, what we walked you through, this was a connected experience. This is connected experience built around this customer, this specific customer, the customer of one. And all of that is made possible by what Amperity just put into your hands, right? Now we can recognize customers just in time, in the moment. We personalize it as it's happening. And we capture revenue before it's lost. And oh, by the way how we build this, the way how we're enabling all these use cases, we're ready for agentic commerce. So What we demoed was Susan actually going and shopping and browsing as a human, but we know there will be shopping agents. There are shopping agents already. So regardless whether it's Susan the human or Susan her digital twin doing this shopping, we're there to support you.
That's right. Now, we've talked a lot about Susan. But as we all know, behind every Susan, there's a Jess. Jess is a marketer at Amp Adventures. So let's take a few minutes and let's see what the experience looks like for her. Right. This is Jess's view. Can we advance? Thanks.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. This is Jess's view inside Amperity. So on the left, you'll notice she has a view into or across the board, you'll notice she has a view into what's happening across her customer base. The left there, you see the champions. They're decreasing. Over here on the right-hand side, you see that she is acquiring new customers, but these customers are lower in value. So great, she's doing a great job acquiring, but they're not really the customers that she wants. So a lot of platforms will give you the information, they'll give you the insights. But where Amperity is different is now we are giving you the actual recommended actions that Jess can take. Right? All of these actions are based on her data. That's based on all of the historical information of the programs that have run previously. So now she knows exactly where she wants to focus. So here across her experience, she can choose from retention plays, she can choose from growth plays, or top picks. She's going to choose top picks, and right away, her next step is obvious. Reactivate 250,000 lapsed champions. And looking at it, this is where she has the massive opportunity. All of this was surfaced automatically to her, so Jess can move from insight to action almost immediately.
And this is the key here. So Jess, the marketer, she's not just wrangling and pulling the data from 3 disparate reports, trying to glean into some insights. The diagnostics is done for her. The diagnosis is set. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's ready to go. There's no sequel, no waiting. There's no tickets. Repeat after me, no sequel, no waiting, no tickets. It's there. There you go. Thank you. Great. Just wanted to make sure that you're still alive. So very good. So normally, again, Jess would have to take the data and turn it into some kind of a strategy doc. But what happens instead? The system now gives her a starting point. And by the way, I know it looks like there was a lot of text there. This was by design because we follow the principle of the glass box. So we want to make sure that not only the system is offering the recommendation and doing something useful, but also explains how is it that it has arrived to that recommendation.
All right, so from here, this is what I get really excited about as a marketer. Notice what happened. Automatically, the journey was created. This wasn't a marketer clicking and dragging and creating the journey. The system did it for her. Right? And in it, she didn't have to pull in the analysts. She didn't have to build the segments. She didn't have to define the treatments. She didn't have to decide the A/B testing. Again, all of that was done for her automatically. So it would have taken weeks, now takes minutes for Jess. So.
Wasn't that amazing? Yes? Okay, there you go. I think so. I think this automagic is amazing. So what you saw now, what we're just announcing are 2 new releases today, the recommended actions, and this is where we can help you make decisions so that you can respond faster and you can drive greater impact for your businesses. And then the second capability, we're GAing the customer data assistant. And this is where you have this from question to a segment to a journey to an action in minutes, all done automatically for you.
All right, so as much as we all here at Amperity love our UI, we also recognize that
Absolutely. Yes.
we also recognize that marketers don't spend their entire day living in customer dashboards. So let's be real. We all live in Word, PowerPoint, Teams, email, send tools, Slack, whatever your tool of choice is, right? That's really where the work gets done. And historically, this is where things can often break down. Because while you're working in one set of productivity tools, your data is living in another tool. So that means there's a whole exercise of downloading CSV reports, copying charts into slides, creating tickets to send to analysts, chasing updates.
Chasing those analysts.
I'm sure we all feel the anxiety that comes up with kind of going through this workflow process. So by the time we're ready to act, what happens is the moment has passed. So what we're really excited about today is to show you how we're changing that for you.
That's right. So we really wanted to solve this problem. We really wanted to collapse it and also give you the capability to do things within the tools that you're used to, your tools of trade. So today we're introducing the Amperity MCP server. By adopting this open Model Context Protocol standard, which is the backbone of any LLM, any major LLM providers, Amperity now becomes the intelligence layer for your enterprise AI ecosystem. And that system securely connects to your customer data. Securely connects because we make sure that everything is hardened and all of your guardrails, all of your policies, all the RBAC, everything is respected. So when AI plugs in through the MCP, it doesn't just see a tabular database. What it sees is a semantic map. What it sees is identity resolution. It sees calculated traits. It sees predicted long-term value. It sees all of those things that you are able to get through the user experience, through the user interface, but now, through the MCP, the AI is capable to do that as well. And importantly, again, AI is not just guessing. It's not just hallucinating some stuff. It is actually querying governed truths. The Amperity customer data is the governed truths for your customers. So today, we're actually going to show you how we can solve this in Microsoft, since Microsoft has 450 million users, and many of you are using this tool, so why not show how marketers can choose and use these productivity tools with the Amperity MCP. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is the Microsoft Copilot Studio. This is the place where Microsoft allows you to configure AI agents. They have a whole bunch of agents in the marketplace. You can build your own, so that's what we did. We built our own Amperity marketing agent. That was pretty straightforward. All we had to do was to connect it to the MCP server. Right there, you can see that. And right there, boom, you can see that the MCP server is exposing all of that functionality that we have in Amperity through this set of tools that now you can take advantage, either all of them, or if UIT has some policies around which ones we're going to allow, read only or not. So all of that can be configured.
That's great. All right, so let's bring Jess back into the picture and show you what this looks like for her. All right, so it's Friday afternoon. She gets a message, leadership wants a brief on the campaign, the win-back campaign that she just ran with her champions. Catch is they want it Monday. A few nods, I can see that this is not a unique experience for Jess. So normally, what this would mean is digging through dashboards, old decks, team Slacks or team chats, emails, anything that she can help to find to help her tell that story and bring it to the meeting. Now, right in Teams, she just prompts the Amperity marketing agent to draft the executive brief for her. It also then will create the Word document and the PowerPoint slide. All right.
Wow, look at that. This is Word, right?
This is Word, yeah. No, this is actually still in the Teams.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So all of this is based on their data. So the LLM is actually reaching into the Amperity to grab the live data, to synthesize it, and to create the materials for her. Here's what it looks like in Word. We're not going to go through it in detail. We've all seen a briefing doc before. But the cool thing here is that if she wants to make edits, she can just pull up Copilot, engage with the Amperity marketing agent right there, and then make the edits there. Now, the other requirement was a PowerPoint. That opens automatically. Again, everything is right there for her. She doesn't have to spend the extra hours and the time that would have taken her yesterday, right? Today, it takes minutes. So we're really excited to have this for all of you to start exploring and start using in your day-to-day.
Yeah, this is amazing. Hey, well, yes, thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. This deserves applause. So what you just saw is enabled by the Amperity MCP server. And it is available to you today. So absolutely, we want you to try it out. One more time. This is not generative AI making stuff up, making up the numbers. This is what we call grounded AI. This is something where you have Amperity MCP reaching inside the Amperity customer platform, along the way enforcing all of your enterprise governance. The data stays in your data warehouse, wherever it may be, whether it's Databricks, whether it's Azure, whether it's Snowflake, and your data is never used to train public models. I'll repeat, your data is never used to train these public models. But this is not just a Microsoft story. Because we choose the open standard, we can open up and make it extensibility story, more of an open story. So regardless what you're using, whether you are in Claude, whether you are in ChatGPT, whether you're in Perplexity, or maybe you are using some packaged apps, Salesforce, Slack, what have you, for as long as they can connect to the MCP server, or it may be even your own bespoke apps that you developed internally. Maybe your system integrators helped you build for your own use cases. Nowadays, through the power of MCP, you can basically build those enriched experiences, then you can get all of this valuable data so that you can deliver more value for your customers and for yourselves.
Excellent. Well, this is all amazing innovation, Grigori. We're so grateful for you and your team for bringing this to us. So let's recap and bring it back and kind of recap what we announced today. First, real-time solutions, right, for site personalization and for journey abandonment recovery. We talked about recommended actions, right? So this is all using your data to provide you with the next best action you can take to help grow your business. The customer data assistant. This is a tool that enables you to use, to explore your segments, activate customers, go from insight to action in minutes versus days and weeks. And then, of course, I won't rehash it, but we just announced the Amperity MCP server. So all of these are 4 launches, all available to you today, all purpose-built to help you turn insight to action faster and much more confidently than you've ever been able to do before.
That's right. Thank you. And don't be shy. Thank you. Thank you. And this is just a quick overview of these 4 big rocks, but there's a lot more. And we do have a dedicated breakout session that our product management team is going to lead today. So please attend it. You'll learn more about what else we've released because it is a feature-packed launch for sure. And also we'll give you a kind of preview of what our roadmap looks like for another couple of quarters, so you'll know what to expect.
All right, so Grigori. A little bit of impromptu here. I know your team has been kind of secretly working on something new. Curious if you'd be open to giving the people here who joined us here at Amplify kind of a peek behind the curtain at what it is.
Yeah, I would, but I don't know. Do you guys want to see something really, really new? Okay, awesome. Okay. Since you are such an amazing audience, just because of you, what we're going to do, we're going to show something that we're building with you, with our customers. And the idea here is that we're like, well, let's just think about what else, what can we do? Yes, we have, improved the existing platform. You've seen all of this greatness there. But is there something we can do to, drive 10 times, 50 times productivity of yours? Can we do something that will allow you to manage a lot more things and gain a lot more advantage out there in the market? So we started reimagining the whole experience, how you, the marketers, may be interacting with the data. So let us show you what this experience might look like. Again, this is aspirational, this is future looking, but let's just see. So remember Jess? She just launched the journey, right? So if you're going to actually switch over to the demo, you're actually going to see this new experience. We're calling it there. We're lovingly calling it AMP, the agentic marketing platform for now. So again, let's just recap. Jazz has launched that amazing journey to re-engage, right, the champions through the customer data assistant. So now she's coming back and she's checking out how it's doing, right? She's looking at what's happening. The important part of this experience is that the agents now that are reporting this, they haven't just executed that campaign once. They're actually constantly monitoring. They're constantly looking for the nuance, for the signal, right? And what you see here is that, well, I've got some of my performance numbers. That's great, right? The reactivation rate is up. There's better incremental revenue. This is all amazing, right? But the key here is that this is not just the measurement. This is not just the measurement. In addition to offering this insight, we're actually the AMP agents are able to offer the recommendations. They're able to offer the recommendations. And this is based on, again, on this constant observing. So let's go and explore. Let's just look at what that proposed recommendation. In this case, you can see, interestingly enough, it noticed that most of the customers, you see that, are converting on the 19th hour, which is interesting because that means that that 5-wave sequence that we launched in the previous journey, right? It's kind of the last two phases are kind of late. So it's running, but it's suboptimal. It's not very, very efficient. So now the agent is going to actually recommend, again, automatically. It has figured this out. Based on the pattern, it's going to recommend to collapse this into a 3-sequence wave, right? A 3-wave sequence. And if we explore this together, right, you can see what the recommendation looks like.
I'm going to jump in here. So this is what's really powerful, right? This isn't just building a journey. It's not just putting together an email. It's designing your entire content. It's orchestrating across channels like email and SMS. It's setting up your A/B tests for you. And it's learning what's working over time and bringing those learnings back into the system. So all of this used to happen across these disconnected systems that we use every day, across one tool for content, another tool for testing, another tool for journey orchestration, another tool for send. This is essentially your agentic team member working with you to build a campaign, to build an activation, to re-engage your customers, and to help you design for impact.
Right, and you're still in control. So if you do not want the agents to go and roam freely there, right, they can be monitoring, observing, making recommendations, but you are still in charge. You want to approve and execute. That's exactly what we're going to do. And then the AMP agent can actually take over the execution and observability after that. And now it's monitoring continuously this new 3-wave sequence, right? So now, what I want to highlight is what's going to happen next. This is the true kind of the art of the possible. Because the AMP agent is not just about optimizing an individual campaign. The AMP agent is not just focusing on some minor tactics. It is learning. It is constantly learning. And the more you use it, the more it's learning, the smarter it gets. Now the AMP agent is able to make some strategic recommendations, right? So these recommendations are informed by all of the business goals, everything they're trying to achieve, plus all the learnings from all of these past executions, no matter how much far in the past you actually ran them. So in the language of math, this is like, again, instead of going after some local optimization, local optima, you're actually now able to go and do this global optima. It's learning constantly. It's getting smarter and smarter. And this only works because it has amazing foundation underneath. The Amperity foundation, that truth, that grounded truth that we talked about earlier. So now, 2 weeks, fast forward, 2 weeks later, Jess is back into this AMP dashboard. And what you see is that based on the learning, the AMP agent has identified another trend. It has identified another challenge. It has realized, right, that there's a lot of these bookers who go through high-risk area where you have a lot of cancellations, and it automatically says, well, what can we do here? Again, it doesn't just offer some sort of a discount. It offers a real solution. It says, why don't we offer some kind of an early arrival action, some early arrival campaign? And if you go and look at the proposed decision, it actually comes up with a bunch of the top 3 things that actually would work, right, according to the past experiences. And it even gives you some summaries, like the early arrival campaign with some drafts of the copy there too. So it says, Patagonia, you see some Iceland options.
Can I just stop you there for a minute? You mentioned Patagonia. We're talking about re-engaging our customers. In this campaign, if I was kind of reading through briefly, it mentioned that it's for
Santiago wine country, yes.
Yeah,
love it.
Wrong season.
Oh,
so what would happen if we just pose the question to the agent?
Account for seasonality. Yeah, what's going to happen? Let's see. Well, the agent is smart enough to actually self-correct, and because of the seasonality, to swap immediately, right, this wine tour for some kind of a winter fringe track, right? And the important thing here now is that this learning, this correction, this indication that you provided is going to now be used as part of this collective brain. It is now part of the learning. It's something that's going to be taken into consideration in the future, right? So now Jess has this high context seasonal campaign ready to activate. She's going to go do that. This decision goes into the bank, into the brain, right? This learning is accumulated, it's compounded, and now this seasonality correction is something that will be guiding all the future ones. So now there's another recommendation that surfaces up. Let's see. There. Look, because this winter track in this national park in Chile was so successful, the AMP agent is able to say, hey, apply this for the past climbers. Again, this is done based on the fact that the system was able to learn from all of this. Let's actually look at under the cover what's happening. How is this latest recommendation, right? So remember, there was a campaign, there was a journey. Based on that, we learned a little bit, then we learned more. This is now the latest recommendation that is based on the 4 previous decisions. 4 previous decisions that were made. The one a second ago that Kate corrected, right? The seasonality guardrail, it's right there. It's part of the decision map. You see the one around the early arrival campaign that we talked about. That's there as well 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, the 3-wave cadence, it's there. And by the way, those all 3 we've showed you today. And there was a 2-year ago, there was also some action, some decision that is now part of this collective decisioning. This is the power of AI. This is the power of agentic marketing. This is the power that will make you heroes in your department.
All right. I'm really excited about this. I hope you all are as well. So please, if you have any, after the session, I'm sure Grigori will be happy to answer any additional questions.
Yeah, and this is something that's coming soon. We're actually going to be rolling this in stages. We're doing some private betas, private previews. So if you are interested in participating in this, well, first of all, I actually want to say thank you for those couple of design partners who have been engaged in building this experience. This wasn't just invented in the dark corners of the product lab. This was actually in collaboration with you guys. And I know you're here, so thank you very much for doing so. But those people who want to get on this ship of the agentic marketing and work with us and help us develop this further, and you want to get the preview early, please send us a message, future@amperity.com. We will get in touch with you. We'll make it happen. So let's sum up this, what we just showed you, okay? Agentic marketing platform for the win. Agentic marketing, the 4 main things, the 4 key things here. Number 1, autonomous and ambient execution. The agents, again, they're working behind the scenes. They're working relentlessly while you're doing something else, while you might be asleep. All of that work is grounded in the rich context, in the rich customer context. The continuous learning loop allows to make those decisions and recommendations smarter every time. Every time it executes, it feeds back. And as a result, if you think about all of this and you put it all together, this is going to allow to compound your results, compound your business results through all these actions, all this learning, all of this innovation. Now, on that note, I would like to put this more in the context of the live implementation. So I am going to invite our co-founder and CTO on stage, Derek Slager, and let's bring this to life.
Thank you, Kate, Grigori, and DJ Christian on the ones and the twos way back there. for all that. That was live demoed. So if you heard people panicked in the in the corner, that's why. All went off without a hitch. This is really an exciting time in the market. It's also a scary time and a chaotic time, but it's exciting, right? We started the company 10 years ago in an ambiguous environment, right? In kind of the early stages of AI, and as Grigori said, we don't build things in the dark corners of the R&D lab, right? We build things with customers. Because it turns out, if we build all this stuff and nobody uses it, it was all a big waste of time, right? And so 10 years ago, when we were starting the company, we had the great privilege to work with a team at Alaska Airlines. It was a privilege for many reasons. One of them is how much Alaska cares about their customer, right? And so we were building a brand new platform, trying to solve these really difficult data foundational problems, and we needed to partner with people who were willing to come along on that journey with us. And as we kind of embrace this new world and build our agentic marketing capabilities, we find ourselves in a very similar place to where we were 10 years ago, right? A lot of opportunity, a lot of ambiguity, and really the need to solve this problem with customers so that what we build is actually useful. And what's especially exciting is, one of our early design partners for the work you just saw on the agentic marketing platform is once again Alaska Airlines, a different team, 10 years on, but the same company and the same amazing customer focus and same kind of brand DNA. And so I'm super excited to introduce Lori Ho, who's the Director of Growth and Lifecycle Marketing at Alaska Airlines, to the stage to talk a little bit more.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. Excited.
Thank you so much for everything, but also, for sitting up here on stage with us. We've worked together on the early agentic marketing platform development. We've talked a lot about it, and I think in a lot of these conversations we say, hey, this is kind of the latest attempt to reach personalization, right? And we've been talking about personalization for decades now, right? That's always kind of the holy grail, and I think a lot of us think, wow, this is finally our opportunity to get to personalization. But that sort of begs the question, what is personalization? And I'd love your take on that.
Sure. I mean, a lot of my philosophy on personalization is a lot what was said already by Tony. My team and I talk a lot about, we know a lot about our guests that travel on our aircrafts, and we know who they are, their name, their last name, the last place they traveled. We even predict where they're going to travel next. But where we haven't really totally cracked the nut is anticipating their needs and really truly understanding them. Like right now, I would say personalization to us is very rules-based, triggered-based, and also with predictability built in there. But I want to get to a point where we anticipate a guest's needs before they even know it. And that's really kind of true to Alaska's DNA and how we care for our guests in every step of their journey. And so our communications to them can definitely showcase that if we can get it right.
Yeah. Speaking of DNA, Amperity's DNA is sort of rooted in the belief that it's all about the data foundation, right? And as much as we're talking about a lot of new things that you can do on top of that data foundation, we have this deep innate belief that better data is better results. You've invested, in building a data foundation with Amperity. What did that actually take to build? And are we full of it? Is it actually as important as we like to think it is?
It's very, very important. I think anybody that is a lifecycle marketer here in this crowd, or even from a paid performance team, data is clutch. Like the old saying of garbage in, garbage out is totally true. And so Amperity is such a important piece to what we do because it allows us to bring in data sources from all points and places. So, we can bring in data from other marketing technologies. We can bring in data from our data lake and bringing it together where we can put it into a profile and really take action on that has been the reason why we've been able to grow our lifecycle programs the way that we have, as well as our paid performance programs.
Amazing. Lori, I'd like to think that you're lucky, and a lot of people in this room are lucky because we've all worked together to build these great data foundations. And so we get to dream big about sort of what comes next. In that spirit, since you have the foundation, like now what? Like what's the vision from here? I don't know, AI?
Yeah. AI sounds good. Let's do it. Our program has really been built, like I said before, we have trigger-based, we have behavioral-based, intent-based, predictability. We're doing all of that stuff, and we're really proud of it. Like, it's not something that we feel like isn't working. I think that the company and the teams have invested so much time and budget and making and kind of supporting us as a group to build upon it. And so I feel like we've taken it to where we can take it with my team and sort of where we are. And so AI helps us take it, leapfrog us, I guess, is like what I like to say when I present business cases for this, that we can use AI to leapfrog us into a much better place where we start really like understanding and knowing who our customers are. I think one example I always use in this is like our segmentation kind of. You create it and then there it is. You have a set of cohorts and they sort of stay. In the travel business and in so many other different verticals, people move in and out of your cohorts at a rapid pace. And I don't think we've really like thought about that. So like there's business travelers that then the next time they travel, they're leisure traveling with their family or they're solo traveling or whatnot. And so we want to use AI to start to help us understand those. Especially too, like if they start to churn away from us, we can build all those rules and say this is what a person looks like when they're starting to like have less loyalty with us, but it's different for every single person. You may have stopped traveling because maybe you found a different job where you don't have to, but you're still actively using our credit cards. Or I maybe quit my job because I no longer have to travel as much. And so I think like really using AI to find these micro segments is what I'm probably most excited about getting this going.
Makes sense. We've talked about kind of the past, building the data foundation, which is work that's already happened. We've talked about the future, which I expect will be the near future, and kind of really allowing AI to hyper-personalize. What about like right now? Like what are you doing right now? Kind of what are the things that are working that other folks in the room could go and borrow as something that they could go do today, sort of before we get all the way there on agentic marketing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're making what we have work for us really well. So leveraging the data that we have, leveraging the technologies that we have to make our communications feel one-to-one. So like going back to our predictive models, like one of the things that we're probably most proud of is predicting that lifetime value of a guest, but then also like predicting where they're deciding where we think they're going to go next. And when I talk about understanding and anticipating their needs, that's sort of what I mean when I say that. So I want to look at somebody's travel history, figure out where they probably should go next. And then when we have like our next big system-wide sale, all of that messaging is focused on that one destination versus just sort of like randomly throwing like a picture of Hawaii out there, which Hawaii is lovely, but if they're more into mountain sports or something like that, then we want to be able to showcase that.
Got it. That makes sense. Amperity is a little more than a year into kind of its own AI transformation. And, kind of my background is in software engineering. And for those who don't pay attention to these things, software engineering has fully rebooted over even the past few months. And, we sort of jokingly say everybody in software engineering has ripped up their job description in the last year, and we're all in the process of rewriting them and kind of figuring that out. And that sounds maybe like ridiculous to the point of being a joke, but it's true, right? Like the way that people write software is fundamentally different, and all the things around software are fundamentally different. And I'm curious, as we contemplate kind of agentic coming to marketing and agentic coming to more parts of the organization, how do you think about team, right? Is it the same magnitude where everybody's going to rip up their job description? Is it an organizational structure thing? Like, how are you thinking about that?
I mean, I think that the team will have to start to like, I guess, really beef up their strategic thinking skills, because AI can take off some of the noise off their plate. Like in our current world, in our current state, not really leveraging AI to help us make some of these targeting decisions, we get what I call targeting fatigue, where it's like you're trying to figure out the right audience for a certain piece of content or a certain promotion that's been, that somebody asked you to do next week. And the targeting isn't obvious and it's totally brand new. So you really don't have any historical guidance. And so the team spends a lot of time thinking through that. They spend a lot of time figuring out how to orchestrate the campaigns. And so AI takes off some of that burden and starts to make recommendations where the team now has to sit back and say, hey, does this make sense for Alaska? And does this make sense for us to like launch this? Have we tried it before? Did it not work? And really start to think if that resonates with what we're trying to do as a company and a brand. At the same time, like really understanding what's happening with the business. So like if AI, not saying it would do this, but if AI came and said, hey, you're all of a sudden there's a ton of opportunity to send people to Mexico, but it was during the events that happened in the Puerto Vallarta area, we have to also think like, hey, this probably isn't the right time to launch something like this. And so they'll be spending more time really thinking through if it's the right thing to do, which I actually love, because as marketers, strategy and thinking about what's the next thing and if that's right or if that's wrong, like that is what we do. That's what gets us excited. Not how do I launch this and get this into Salesforce and push the button.
Yeah. One thing I say to the team a lot is you can't outsource the thinking, and I actually think that's a really hopeful message, because I think we've seen that when people try and outsource the thinking, that's when things go awry, right? Because it's missing some of that context that we're still the best at, and few, right? It means we still got some things to do for the foreseeable future. A few months back, Lori, I chatted with you about kind of being part of the agentic marketing pilot, and it was really obvious to me that you'd already been thinking about this for a while. And I'm guessing there's some folks in the room who might not be quite as forward thinking on some of these agentic elements as you. For people who maybe haven't started thinking about this, like, what advice would you give them on kind of where to start?
Oh, okay. I mean, depending on where you are with your lifecycle marketing journeys, like I always say, like, don't boil the ocean and don't spend a ton of time in conference rooms, like Miro boarding out the perfect customer journey. Like I remember early in my career when I was really just kind of understanding what this type of marketing was about, we spent so much time doing that. And honestly, it was kind of a waste of time. I come from a place where I just find the best place you think lifecycle marketing and this kind of marketing can impact your business the most, and focus on that. And don't worry about mapping it out. Just throw stuff up at the wall, do some testing, get it out there. If it doesn't work, fail fast, try again. Like I always tell people, the journey that you are the most proud of never started that way. And it takes time and it takes patience, and as long as you're sort of growing little by little, we have this saying on my team, better than BAU. As long as it's better than BAU, those little incremental improvements will end up becoming huge improvements over time.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. And I think a lot of times we know that, but it's hard to do that. And so I think, yeah, given the pace the world is looking at, I think, or the pace the world is operating at, I think that's incredibly important advice. There's a balance, right? Obviously, if we're trying to change the way our teams work, right, and build towards agentic marketing, that's not going to happen overnight, right? Even if it happens quickly. And obviously there's all the sort of short-term business goals, right? And sometimes we end up in that trap of we've got to solve the problem of today while building for tomorrow. That's always hard, but maybe especially hard right now. I'm curious how you think about that balance for, kind of being able to make these longer-term investments, but also making sure that, you're feeding the business's goals in the meantime.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, I think it's about using some of those short-term gains to really showcase how, as proof points to how you're moving the needle for your goals, that then turn into what to do next for the longer-term vision. Those short-term goals, you can start to look at them and even like start to forecast, if you put them at a bigger scale, what could you see from that? And that's something that my team focuses on a lot. I have the benefit of working with a leadership team at the C level that really is wants the team to be entrepreneurial and also is really open to innovation and trying things. Alaska prides itself on doing a lot of firsts, and so I think I'm in a culture that helps me get there, but I've also worked for companies that might be like a little bit like, oh, we're not super comfortable with all of that, or question some of those short-term wins. And I think it's just about continuing to like chip away and keep screaming from the rooftops on the work that you're doing and why you're doing it, but then also the technology that supports it. So I think sometimes as marketers, we focus on the big win and how it moved the needle. And maybe the leadership team you're presenting to doesn't necessarily fully understand how it got there, and they may not necessarily be interested in that. But I think it's important to always talk about like this was possible because we have this really strong MarTech stack that actually like really works for us, and that's where like I think it's important, like with Amperity being a strong partner for Alaska, to continue to reiterate that with our leadership team, that we're not just like, my team isn't just a bunch of data geniuses that did this on our own. Like, we had help, and you guys helped us get there.
Appreciate that. I'll ask one more question. What do you wish you knew at the start of all of this that would have helped you, avoid some landmines?
Do not do customer journey mapping. It's a waste of time.
Right.
I think even before when little Lori was just starting out on this journey in her career, like I kind of always had this mentality of just like, why waste time doing it? Like, just send it out. And so like, maybe I should have been a little bit bolder in that mentality, even maybe if the confidence wasn't there at the time, or I wasn't in a position where I could do it. But I really encourage everybody to like, push your leaders and push your managers to let you to do the A/B test and see if it works. Like, put that crazy idea that you have out there, hold it up against a control group and see what happens. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing. I mean, it's still going to be on brand. It's still going to be true. It just might not necessarily resonate with your customer, but give it a try. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I think a lot of times people exist in cultures or in systems that are sort of designed to prevent that experimentation. And I think maybe we all have an opportunity to think about how we can use AI as the catalyst to go and drive that culture in our organizations. And so you're privileged to be part of an organization that I think has an incredible culture that allows you to deliver for customer. And I think we all have some role in creating that within our respective organizations. So I'll personally take some inspiration from you, and I hope others do too. Lori, thank you for everything. Thank you for the partnership and for
Thanks,
sharing
everybody.
your wisdom. Thank you.
This is the best water, by the way.
Oh, nice.
I highly recommend it.
Awesome. One last piece of advice from Lori there. With that, I'll pass it back to Tony.
Awesome. Thanks, bud. Such great nuggets from Lori, that I'm going to take away from. And I feel like, Lori, even though we know each other, I feel like now I know a little bit more about little Lori. So I feel like even better customer closeness. Sorry, Derek. Amazing questions. Amazing questions. I don't want to leave you behind either. So how do we take what we've been talking about and how do we get started? One of the things that was really important to us, and a lot of the feedback that we were getting, not only from our customers, but getting advice from analysts, was this idea that we need to be able to show attribution. We need to be able to show measurable results. And so we created something called Return on Customer Data, or the ROCT format. And our idea is that we need to give the type of information that will allow our customers to be rock stars. And so in these types of assessments that we do with you, partnering with you as customers, We take a look at 7 elements and we create this spider chart that basically says, here's where you stand inside of a framework so you can continue to improve your data asset. Now, it's not just enough to show where it's going to be at. The second thing we do is we say, here's the recommendations. Everybody will get a rock score. 29, it's a stable score. What are some of the ways that we can improve this score? The other thing that we want to show is a value case. If we were able to solve some of these problems, this would be the revenue impact and this would be the margin impact, because we want to create a plan that allows you to get there. And I like the message about the incrementalism that goes on. What's the constant way that we can constantly be improving the systems that are available to you? And how do we show real measurable results? There's actually a breakout session with some of our customers and some of our experts inside of this area later on today. As customers, we're also going to have it so you can just click on a QR code, you can start entering information, and it'll start building your rock profile and rock score so that you can start seeing how that works. So super excited about those sessions today. I want to end where we sort of started, and that's to say thank you. Thank you for all the partnership. Thank you for all the time you spend with us. Thank you for all the advice, including some of the unsolicited advice. And thanks for all that partnership means, because we're in the business of making our customers successful with their customers. So now is the time to let's go. The systems are available to you. Thank goodness Paul got to the top of the mountain finally. But we're going to have a break now, and then we're going to have all the breakout sessions as our next steps. So thanks again for a great morning.